Hi, how are you doing? Welcome back to my channel. I'm sorry, I just got back from out, and there's a lot of pollen in the air. I think I would like you all to know a little bit about me, and I had some questions. So my camera's gonna go off a lot, but we can ignore that. A lot of people don't get to know people online, and I want you to know who I am. You would through many videos, but maybe not some more edgy or personal stuff about me. So we will start with some questions that were asked of me. These were sent to me through, believe it or not, an email. I can't scroll now. There we go. An old email that I had, and I thought, you know, they came through. Somebody's got to be looking. It's two people who are asking me questions. So let's go with the first one. Okay, I'll come closer to my mic. My mic will come closer to me so we could see what's going on here. All right. First of all, where were you born? Well, I was born northeastern PA, where the snow is, wow. The winters are cold, the snow is very high, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And, but then again, I was a teenager when I moved. I had no choice, or would have stayed. Yeah, we rode horses through the snow. We played in the snow. We did everything in the snow. We loved the days off of school, the snow days. Northeastern PA, that's where I'm from. Alright. Okay, so would you ever date a man of color? Yes, and I have. Absolutely. Because it's not about the color of the person. And I have to look up and roll my eyes on that one, because it's like, really? Now I know there are a lot of people out there many who may be racist. I'm not. If you have a good heart, you're in my heart. And he has a good heart, so he's in my heart. Phone, don't fail me now. My camera's going off. It's the noises, and it's kind of hanging me up here. So, okay, so yes, I have dated a man of color, brown, black, whatever. Yes, absolutely. I don't care. Good person, was an excellent person. We were just too young. Okay. Have you ever been married? Yes, I've been married. I think I talked about this, mentioned it. Been married twice. My first husband had died of leukemia, AML leukemia. And my second husband and I just didn't get to know each other well enough. I believe, really. We met online. We didn't get to know each other well enough, and things changed. We're still living under the same roof. We still do a lot of things together. We still hang. We still watch movies. We still do everything. Yeah. And we were married. And I wanted a divorce. The reason I wanted a divorce is because I come from an alcoholic family, and he was drinking. That was it. If I were smarter, I would have thought of therapy. But you know what? I didn't think of therapy. Why didn't I think of therapy? But I didn't. So I've been married twice. Oh, camera, stop. Okay. Do you love animals? I mean, this is a given, because that's why I think this is someone who's watching now on this channel, and yeah, just of course I have a degree in herpetology, which is a study of reptiles and amphibians. And I started out in biology. Whoo, that was a tough one. Biology was pretty tough. So I went for herpetology because I've always had this is strange, but in PA we were catching garter snakes. I loved them. And I got one that was pregnant, and they give birth to live, and I didn't know she was going to eat them, but she ate them. All but 3 I got out of there because I was a young girl, and my mom allowed it. The snake stayed in our home. During the winter, we had phenomenal heat, and she stayed in a suitcase. The suitcase was left open. The snake never left my room. The door was closed. Could have, maybe, but never left my room, but got into and onto everything. Had it for quite a while. I'll never forget that. Summers were fun. Catching fish in our little creek that came through our field, catching fish, earthworms. Man, do they love earthworms, digging for earthworms. Yes, I love animals, starting from snakes. I have a baby bird in my hedge right now that I listen to him, and if he sounds like he's in distress when mom's not around, I run out the door. Make sure no predator's trying to get him. That's who I am. I have had crows before, which you're not supposed to keep, but I had one named Whiskey, who was a full-feathered crow, but just couldn't fly, and brought him home and in a box and put him on a perch, and he stayed in not here in this room, but in my closet, and he felt safe, and before I knew it, he was flying on my head, flying on my shoulders, screaming for me when I left. I would take him outside, and he would go and take off, and he'd come back with a cigarette butt and the weirdest stuff in the world. So, yeah, I really love animals. I adore alligators. I respect them, but I still swim in lakes where there's gators because I have. I mean, now the lakes are pretty, I'm afraid of amoebas in there, and they're talking about that. So I don't do that. It's raining out. I don't do that, but thunder, lightning's close. I have a healthy respect for alligators. Growing up in PA, my father was in the Army, and he came home with a baby alligator. And my mom and dad really thought they were going to raise him. They named him Chopper. They thought they were going to raise him. We were all in awe of him. My mom thought he was dead. Well, he wasn't dead. He just couldn't move around much, Mom, in that big tank. He couldn't. And so she put her finger in there and he bit her. And that was the end of that. So a friend ended up taking the alligator and had him for many years. Come to find out, him was not a him. It was a her, because they will lay a non-fertile egg. And it did. So don't know how that story ended, but yes. Dogs and horses are the biggest passion because I grew up riding. I grew up showing horses. I showed my dogs a Doberman Pinscher from a shelter, and then a Black Schnauzer. After that, every dog didn't seem to really have what it takes to show. And I was burnt out with training because I was learning how to train through a woman who trained dogs for shows, but I was burning out bad. So I rescue. I rescue dogs. I foster them, meaning, and I keep them and I showcase them wherever I can, at whatever event, wherever, whenever, with a vest on, that they need a home. The majority of these dogs tend to be pit mixes or the like, and they're really hard to place in homes. Real hard to place in homes. I wish we had laws where people would stop breeding these dogs and then thinking they're cute little puppies, and then they grow up and they can't control them. Because then it's people like me that have to take over. I did a lot of research, when I moved down here, about the so-called pit bull, the beginnings of the dog and what the dog is capable of doing. And then I got into the mastiffs, and the bigger dogs, and it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, but I still do it. I have a Cane Corso, which people call Cane Corsos, now in the home. I've got a total of 4, but with 3 other dogs, and doing great. Just every day is like a work in progress, though, because these dogs were war dogs, and they're not going to play if you don't want them to. But with the proper training, they obey you very well, and they're just good dogs. But they shed like crazy. Okay, so animal lover. I even had I had black emperor scorpions, and I had a couple tarantulas in different tanks, because tarantulas will kill. Only one's going to survive. I learned that. I worked at 2 pet stores. I worked at a zoo. So, yeah, working at the zoo was something. With elephants and stuff. Absolutely loved it. How was growing up? How was your childhood growing up? My childhood growing up was good. My childhood growing up was phenomenal. I miss my mother. I think that says my battery's low. I don't know. I miss my mother very much. I miss my father very much. Stop. I miss my family. They're all dead except for my cousins. Sadly. Like I said, I come from an alcoholic family, and I had a brother who was run over by a school bus when he was 5 years old, and after that, my mother said my dad kind of threw in the towel, and he drank himself to death. So, but I remember my dad. My dad loved horses, and he didn't ride himself, but he would put us on big, like Percherons horses, and take a picture, and it was just wow. I remember that. When you look at the picture, you kind of remember it. We were so young, but I seen my brother, bless his heart, in many pictures on top of big draft horses. So, yeah. That's the end of that one. It's pretty hard. Do you ride now? Yes, I ride now. I'm in my 60s and I ride. Look, Robert Redford can ride until he died. John Wayne, same thing. And many other people. You can always ride. What you have to do is slow down, though. I had ridden barrel horses in shows. And that's when you ride a horse that runs barrels, and you are, yeah. It's all on speed, how fast you run the barrels. There's 3 of them. It's called Cloverleaf, and you're timed on it. It's a timed event, is what I was trying to say. When you do that, it's called Gymkhana, and when you do that, it's brutal. It's harsh. You got to be careful of the horse's legs yourself. I did have an upset one time where I fell down. She was a thoroughbred Arabian cross, the fastest horse I ever rode to date. The fastest horse I ever rode. She was not mine, but the gentleman was very nice. He kept his horse at the barn, and we kept ours. And he wanted me to ride her. I was riding her on trails. I was getting to know her. I was riding her in the ring a little bit, and then we went to the show. We fell around the second barrel, and she fell down on my leg, and that was that for me. She was fast, but she wasn't cutting corners well, and I don't think we had enough training. I was 15. I was 15 when I moved here. I was probably 13 when that happened. Too young to be on top of a very, very fast horse running barrels. Too young. This keeps saying plugged in, but is it plugged in? I don't know. Battery plugged in. Okay, sorry. So, yeah, that's that. Okay. Have you ever met a guy in a bar? And I've met many people in bars, guys and women alike, and had a one-night stand? No. I've never had a one-night stand, never had the desire to have a one-night stand. I don't see that going anywhere. I never met a guy in a bar and had chemistry. You know, guys used to send me drinks because I would go and read a magazine and sit where I felt safe. It was a bar/restaurant, and I'd read through my magazines and just wanted to get out of my home and go and be alone. Battery, stop messing around. And just read and have fun. And next thing you know, the waitress was coming over, a gentleman over there sent you a drink. I'm like, I'm sorry, I have to deny that because I don't drink. I know that if I take a drink, I'm going to like it. That's usually what happens in alcoholic families. It killed my sister, it killed my father, and I don't want to go down that road. So, yeah, I've met guys in bars. No, I have never had a one-night stand, never planned on it, never thought about it. But I've had a few guys that I knew already who showed up there and sat and talked with me, and that's okay. But I just don't want to go there. It's kind of like blind dating. You're sitting there and all of a sudden a guy walks up, hey, how are you, and all this. I don't have the time for that. Ever did I have the time for that. Ever did I want to do that. It's not my DNA. It's not who I am. So, yeah, it's not who I am. How long were you married? First time I was married, wow, maybe 12 years. I don't know. That's the way it goes. We were young. Let me see. 13 years. 13 years. And the reason I can say that is because I have to remember when my daughter was born. My daughter was born before we got married. So, yeah, 13 years. Second time was 3 years. But you know, you have to remain friends with your ex. I've had people tell me you can't do it. Bull. You can. And you can make it work all over again if you really want to work at it. You know, go from there. Do I believe male and female can remain friends without having sexual intercourse? Yes. Because I've done it. I mean, yeah. Wow. I worked at the hospital for 10 years. I met doctors, and one doctor became a very good friend of mine. Took me for ice cream. He would take me out for dinner. He came to my house a few times. I had one doctor actually sleep in a bed with me one night because he lived way far away and he had to be at the hospital the next morning for surgery. So he stayed here. Same bed. Nothing happened. Not that he didn't want it to, because I know, you know, where we were going, but nah, I shut him down. I'm not a prude or anything. It's just, I have to have chemistry. I have to feel it, you know? Look, this guy, the first doctor was phenomenal. He always respected me. Always respected me. Took me for ice cream. I sat on his lap. Took me home. Let me drive his Porsche during lunchtime. Gave me the keys for it. And respected me. And not once did he hit on me. He just used to always say my hair was real super long at the time. And he used to always say that, my God, look at her hair and, you know, how attractive she is back then. I'm talking about now. I'm a mess. But, great man. Great man. Total respect. Divorced. I even looked him up. Divorced. And maybe dating, who knows, and just liked chatting with me, having ice cream with me, let me drive his car by myself, trusting me with his Porsche, bringing me home from work when I knew because he had my number, and he'd say, you know, you don't need to drive in, or I'd drive in with somebody else, and he would bring me home from work. And yeah, I do believe that we can be friends without having to sleep together or have sex together, because I have slept with other men, but I have not had intercourse of any sort with other men. And there were only 2 doctors that I could think of right off the top of my head. When I was younger, I didn't sleep with anybody. But yeah, they were 2 doctors, and they were cool. Now, my ex and I will sleep in my bed on the weekends when he's not working and I don't work. This is me. And he and then after we watch the movie, we sit there, we have snacks, you know, and stuff like that. We watch a good movie, and then he goes to his room and he goes to bed. And, you know, it's fun. It's great. The pressure's not on. Too many women have pressure on them. I've had too many guys just ask me out. Too many. No. Enough for me. Ask me out, and I'd be like, oh God, here we go again. No, I'm not interested. I don't feel chemistry. When I feel chemistry, I know it. Don't we, though? We know when we feel chemistry, and it comes on pretty quick. It's like there. It's not like, oh my God, that guy's beautiful. Yeah, he's so gorgeous. It's like, oh my God. That's different. That is sexual attraction. But when you get to talk to somebody and you can talk on the same level and you can ask questions, the other person listens, you can answer questions, the other person listens, you both listen to each other talk, you can tell they're into you. They lean forward, they don't lean away, they're not all like this. I mean, you can tell when there's chemistry. And my neighbor couldn't be more noisier right now. And that's what I like. You know, you have to have the chemistry, and if you don't have chemistry, you just have sex, and where does sex go from there? Kaput. It's done. They move on to the next person. I've seen it so many times when we used to go to bars/restaurants, me, my landlord, and my girlfriends, and I would watch it. I'd watch how people picked up people, and they would approach our table and try to pick up my friend or me, and we're just like, no thank you. You know, they're just making the rounds, man. Anybody they can get for that night, it seemed like they can get for that night. And women do the same thing. Women are just as bad as men. Men are just as bad as women. We are equal on that. We are equal. I'm going to tell a little story here for a second. The guy I know, a couple roads over, who's really cool, picked up a girl at a bar one night and brought her home. And she stayed with him for 2 evenings. Now, it's a given that they had slept together and they had sex. It's a given. However, I said, well, where's she at and how it ended? He goes, oh, we didn't agree on politics. Oh my God. Oh my God. If ever there's not a reason, it's politics. Don't let politics get in the way of a relationship. Just don't do it. There are Republicans, there are Democrats, there are independents, there are all kinds of people, and they get along fine. They just don't talk about it. But he said politics got him. He wasn't interested anymore after that. A whole weekend. And she's gone for good. Yes, men can be friends with females. Females can be just friends with men and not have to do anything together. I know. I've done it. I'm not the only one in the world. I'm not the only one in the world. But some people struggle with it. They just struggle with it because they're just looking for something. And that's it. So, oops. Oh, my camera. Would I ever get married again? I often said I want to be married again. Why? Look, I'm in my 60s. It would be nice to be married again. It really would. This chair is, oh, so bad. Your legs stick to it. It would be nice, but I don't want to lose my independence while I do it. I mean, I don't want to lose independence. I don't want to lose who I am in the relationship. I want a cool, relaxing kind of relationship. I don't want to lose who I am. I see people. Here's a good example. Yes, I would like to be married again. However, I don't have to be. My daughter, if she ever sees this, she'll kill me. She's dating a guy right now. They've known each other just a few years. He moved in. Things have changed. My daughter lived alone. She got her own house with a pool, 3 French bulldogs, gated community, totally beautiful. And she was happy. She was happy. She has a girlfriend that she can go out with when they want her to go out from time to time. She just came out of a relationship that was not so good. And she said, gosh, Mom, I'm happy. I'm happy to have my independence, and I'm happy to just do what I want to do. And she met a guy, and I think she said he was on her Facebook, but they never talked. Well, he battled cancer, bless his heart. I wouldn't wish that on anybody, nobody. But he got through it. And he's been out of it for years, thank God. But there's a change. It's kind of like a trade. I don't like doing trade-offs like that. Like movies, I always call her every night, or she'll call me, and you got a movie tonight, Mom? You got a movie? I like horror. Now, last night I watched comedy, but I like horror movies. I like all kinds of movies. If it's good, it's good. I like the guy from State Farm when he's in a movie, because he always plays like super, super mean and nasty. The dude from State Farm, I can't remember his name, but I love watching his movies because he's always a nut job. And I watched one of his movies last night, and not Whiplash, it was another one. And he was a flat out cold-blooded murderer. Can't remember the name of it. If you know, just drop a comment, that's all, please. But she's like, oh, was it good? I'm like, yeah. So I know these movies I'm giving her, she's calling me and asking me again. I said, did you watch it? She's like, no, because Mario and we watch the series of Kennedy. I'm like, okay. My daughter is not into that stuff. My daughter is not into that stuff. I know my daughter, but she's a horror buff like I am. Horror buff? Well, whatever. We're into horror. It's what we like watching, because it doesn't scare us. It's just there. But her boyfriend, he said, I think it's kind of stupid because you don't get scared. You just watch it and it's not scary. Well, yeah, after you watch so many of them. The first time I watched The Exorcist, I couldn't sleep for a week. Every picture had to come off my wall, and my mom did that. And I checked under my bed. Closet had to be closed when I lived up north. It's like, I was scared. But you kind of become immune to all that. And you know, I don't know. The only one that really bothers me is the first Amityville Horror. The first family that moved in where the boy killed the family. That still bothers me to this day when I watch it. True story, that's why. We don't know why he did it. Drugs, they say. Possession, they say. I have no idea, and I don't want to know. But the other one that bothers me is the one with, it's not Ethan. What's his name? Sinister? Sinister. Not Insidious, but Sinister. That bothers me, where they move into the house where the murders happen and he writes books. That one will get to me with the music in the background and the kids that are dead. Those two there I won't watch alone. But every other movie, I'm just like, horror movie, I'm just like, okay, So I admit the truth. Yeah. And that's it for the questions. There were a few more. My camera's not going to let me get through at this point. So I should have turned it off, but I didn't. So anyway, that's a little bit about me. Yeah, I believe people should be more open-minded. Oh, what do I think about the war was on there? I don't like it. War is never good. War is never good. And I talked about this, but I'm going to go a little bit. War is not good. And if you don't have plan B, and I don't know if there's a plan B or C or D or E or the ending, I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to tell you something. One guy compared, he came on, and me, I'm neutral on politics, and I hate talking about it, but I gotta say something. When people come on to a channel and someone's interviewing and they're saying, well, what's the difference between, there's no difference between the US sending missiles to the Ukraine and Russia sending missiles to Iran. There is a difference. Why isn't anybody speaking up? Why don't they get it? Why don't they know? The big difference is the Ukraine didn't do anything. They were just living their life, and they weren't bothering Russia, and they weren't threatening Russia. And she, the ruler of China, and Putin, they were at the Olympics when Putin walks up and says, hey, I'm going to go ahead and invade the Ukraine. And she said, wait until after the Olympics. For no reason, he just wanted land. He wanted property. He wants to take the Ukraine and make it into Russia. So there is a difference. We're not taking Iran and making it into the United States of America. We're not. They claimed they had a nuke. Okay, get rid of the nuke. Really. But this is apples and oranges here. It's apples and oranges, man. It's just apples and oranges. This was a planned out, I don't know for how, I don't even know if it was planned out for an hour or days, but it was a planned out operation by the US and Israel, and they went after Iran due to all of the drones they had, and they don't have airplanes in the sky, but they have killer drones, big time, and all the artillery that they have and they've been building. So what's the difference? There's the difference right there. The Ukraine wasn't, it's hot, it's always hot. The Ukraine was doing nothing but living their lives, living their best lives when they got invaded. These poor people, so many people died and got killed for no reason at all. Babies and children and stuff. And then the U.S. goes, and they did confirm it was the United States of America. They hit the school for girls because it was old plans they were looking at. That's all I know. That's all everybody's saying on the news, and that's all I know. And they're even speaking that they made a mistake. Mistakes happen. War is bad. War is not good, and I come from a wartime family, as I said before, but it's not good. War is very, very, very bad, and look at our economy. Where I live, gas is up to $3.78 a gallon. Figure, our food that we're buying now, have you looked at the peppermint patties that used to be nice and peppermint patty for the same price? Really, everywhere you shop now, you're feeling it. You're not getting what you deserve for the price. So this is war. This is war. What we need to focus on, please, I just pray, health care. Health care is a problem for me. Health care. Gas prices, groceries and the cost of living. The cost of living. Because my landlord, I rent a room and I have a bathroom off to the side with a shower and a sink and a toilet. Yes. But he had to go up on rent because utilities have gone up here where I live. And struggling. Just people are struggling, and I feel for every single one of us. Everybody who's struggling. The millionaires and billionaires don't care because they're not going to struggle. They're not. But we are. So that was the last question. This is a long video. War. No. No. Leave the Ukraine alone. They didn't do anything to you to start it. And if you don't want Iran to have nukes, find where the nuke is, get rid of the nuke. You got rid of the leader. Son got hurt. Apparently, things are just, it's all a mess. We blew up a school full of little girls. Get rid of the nuke. Be done. Have a conversation. Have a conversation and have another one and have another one until you can agree on something. And I understand that our president is going to meet Xi in China. And I hope that goes well for him. I do. Xi is Kim's friend from North Korea. Kim had made a statement that if Trump ever comes to North Korea again, need I say any more? That statement's out there. Just look it up. Very sad. And when this is over with, we all still have to look over our back. Please be aware of your surroundings. Always be aware of your surroundings and the people. Be careful in crowds. Be careful. They're targeting churches, schools, and anywhere there's a lot of people. So, homegrown terrorism is now happening. In 2 weeks, we've had 4 attacks in the United States, I think, if I got that right. If I don't, this is all off the top of my head, but there's been too many. 1 is too many. So, that was my last question, so that's why it popped up. No, I don't like war. I lost my uncle in Vietnam 3 days before he was supposed to come home. Highly decorated. I think war is worthless because nothing ever gets finished. Nothing ever gets done. People who are innocent die. Imagine where you are getting hit with missiles and not knowing where it's really going to land when you're in bed at night. So I pray that it just gets better and not worse. That's all. I want it to go away. Look, it could have been Obama. It could have been Biden. It could have been George Bush who did it. But they didn't. And there was a reason they didn't. There was a reason. Us. I firmly believe it was because of us. The United States of America. And the people. The people come first. Yeah. Okay. Thank you all very much. I'm going to sign out. You try to. I'll see you again. Please watch the video. Please like and subscribe. Please. And ring that little ding, 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 ding bell so you know when more comes up. And I'll start doing some more videos on whatever. If anybody has questions, ask me. I'll do a video on it or answer it in comments, whatever you want. Ask me, as my channel is still a little infant, little fetus. Yeah, it is. But I'm doing my best. Thank you. Wherever you are, stay safe. Be aware. I know you will. And have a nice evening or day. Wherever you are in the world. Thank you. And goodbye.